Naira Marley's influence on street hop culture in Nigeria. Before the noise, before the controversy, before the global conversations, there was a shift happening quietly on the streets. A shift in sound, a shift in attitude, a shift in identity. And at the center of that shift was one name. Naira Marley. Street hop in Nigeria didn't begin with him. But the culture you see today, the fearless tone, the rebellious energy, the unapologetic confidence, that changed because of him. Before Naira Marley's rise, street hop lived mostly in the shadows. It was raw, unfiltered, but still trying to fit into mainstream expectations. Artists often diluted their message to gain acceptance. They softened their tone. They adjusted their image. They polished their sound, because the industry demanded it. Then came someone who did the opposite. Instead of fitting into the system, he forced the system to adjust to him. He didn't sanitize his language. He didn't dilute his message. He didn't chase approval. He represented the street exactly as it was, unfiltered, bold, chaotic, real. And that authenticity created something powerful. People didn't just listen to his music. They saw themselves in it. He turned everyday street experiences into anthems. The struggles, the hustle, the survival mindset. Suddenly the street wasn't something to hide. It became something to celebrate. This was the birth of a new kind of influence, not just musical, cultural. Because Naira Marley didn't just change sound, he changed perception. He made it acceptable to embrace the street identity without apology. Before, many saw street culture as something to escape. After him, it became something to own, and that shift gave birth to what many now call the Marleyan movement. But this wasn't just fandom, it was ideology, a mindset built around freedom from societal expectations, a rejection of traditional approval systems, a belief that success didn't need validation from elite spaces. This mindset resonated deeply with young Nigerians navigating economic pressure and limited opportunities. For many, his music wasn't just entertainment. It was emotional release, a language for frustration, a soundtrack for resilience. He gave voice to people who felt ignored. And once people feel seen, loyalty follows. But influence always comes with reaction. Criticism grew. Debates intensified. Some saw empowerment. Others saw rebellion. Some saw cultural liberation. Others saw disruption. Yet, regardless of perspective, one truth remained. Street hop could no longer be ignored. It moved from the margins to the mainstream. Artists no longer needed to polish their reality to be accepted. Raw became valuable. Unfiltered became marketable. And authenticity became currency. Soon a new generation of artists emerged inspired by this boldness. They embraced their roots more openly. Their sound became less refined but more honest. Their message became less diplomatic but more relatable. The street was no longer asking for permission to be heard. It was demanding space and getting it. Fashion changed too. Street aesthetics became dominant. Language evolved. Slang from the streets entered everyday conversations. Attitude shifted. Confidence replaced hesitation. Even critics had to acknowledge the undeniable impact. Because influence isn't measured by agreement. It's measured by change. And the culture had changed. Street hop was no longer underground. It became a defining force in Nigerian music, a sound that reflected real life rather than aspiration, a sound rooted in survival rather than fantasy. And perhaps the most powerful part of this transformation was ownership. For the first time, many young Nigerians felt like the culture represented them without filters. No adjustments, no translations, no compromises, just reality. This influence extended beyond music. It shaped identity, confidence, self-expression. The message was simple. You don't need validation to matter. You don't need approval to succeed. You don't need perfection to be powerful. You just need to be real. And that message resonated far beyond sound. It became a mindset. Today, whether people agree with his methods or not, the impact is undeniable. Street hop is louder, bolder, more visible, more influential, and more culturally rooted than ever before. Because one artist chose authenticity over acceptance, and in doing so, he changed the rules of the game. Like, comment, and subscribe for more deep discussions about music, culture, and the business behind creativity.